Hi everybody, Mrs. Pesic here. This is a continuation of section 4.2, trig functions, the unit circle. So far we have developed the idea of a unit circle, and we talked about what the 6 trig functions are associated with an ordered pair on the unit circle. And but what we haven't done is we didn't really talk about which trig functions are reciprocals, and we didn't specify that the domain is all real numbers. So if we say which trig functions are reciprocals, let's just go back up here for a second, and we see that the reciprocals would be that sine and cosecant are reciprocals, because sine is y and cosecant is 1 over y. And cosine and secant are reciprocals, because cosine is the x coordinate and secant is 1 over the x. And tangent and cotangent are reciprocals, because tangent is y over x and cotangent is x over y. So those are the ones that are reciprocals. And it's asking, when is the tangent function undefined? Well, the tangent function is going to be undefined when remember, tangent is y over x. So tangent is going to be undefined when the x coordinate equals 0. All right. When is the secant going to be undefined? Well, secant is 1 over x. So I would say the same answer. You know, when x coordinate, that's supposed to say x coordinate, is equal to 0. All right. So, with that in mind, what about cotangent? Well, cotangent is equal to x over y. So cotangent is going to be undefined whenever the y coordinate is equal to 0, because we're not allowed to divide by 0. Same thing for cosecant, because cosecant is 1 over y, and so that's going to be undefined again when y coordinate equals 0. All right, so we worked really hard on developing this unit circle, and you should have it all filled out, and you are going to have to memorize that, but we'll talk about ways to do that. But I want to just get to some of these problems here. So with this first one, we are evaluating the 6 trig functions at 2 pi over 3. Well, again, remember that on your unit circle, as we're looking at the unit circle, 2 pi over 3 is right here. Oopsie, didn't want to do that. 2 pi over 3 is right here, right? And I guess we didn't fill in all of the unit circle, because we didn't write in that this would be 90 plus 30, 120 degrees, and this one would be 150 degrees, right? Anywho, we want the ordered pair at 2 pi over 3, and that's going to be -1/2, comma, square root of 3 over 2. So I'm going to write that down, -1/2, comma, square root of 3 over 2. Let's see. And let's get to our problem that we're at. So the ordered pair is -1/2, comma, square root of 3 over 2. And so if I want to list the sine of 2 pi over 3, that's going to be equal to the y coordinate. So that's just square root of 3 over 2. The cosine of 2 pi over 3 is the x coordinate. So that's just going to be -1/2. The tangent of 2 pi over 3 is going to be equal to the y divided by the x. So that's going to be square root of 3 over 2 divided by -1/2, which is the same as square root of 3 over 2 times the reciprocal, 2 over -1. The 2's divide out, and we're left with negative square root of 3. Now, if I want to find the other 3 trig functions, I can find cosecant of 2 pi over 3. Since that's 1 over the y, that's going to be the reciprocal of square root of 3 over 2, or 1 over square root of 3 over 2. And so that's going to be 1 times 2 over square root of 3. I'm not going to leave it 2 square root of 3. I am going to, let me see if I can drag this whole thing over here and make a little bit more room for myself. And so if I'm doing this and I am going to multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3, so I don't leave any radicals in the denominator. And so I end up getting 2 square root of 3 over square root of 9, which is 3. So this is going to be, I think, 2 square root of 3 over 3 is going to be my cosecant. And now if I want to find the secant of 2 pi over 3, that means I need 1 over the x. My x coordinate was negative 1/2. So 1 over negative 1/2 is going to be 1 times negative 2 over 1. That gives me negative 2. And the last one that, last one that I want to look at here, I'm going to slide this down a little bit more, is the cotangent. So if I'm trying to find the cotangent of 2 pi over 3, remember cotangent is the x over the y, and so that would be negative 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2, and that's the same as negative 1/2 times 2 over square root of 3. I can divide out those 2's, and I'm left with negative 1 over square root of 3. Again, I don't want to leave a radical in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply this by square root of 3 over square root of 3, and I get negative square root of 3 over 3. That's going to be my cotangent. Let's try this with the 6 trig functions at 3 pi over 2. So again, I'm going to want to go back to my unit circle and figure out what is the ordered pair at 3 pi over 2. Well, 3 pi over 2 was this lowest point on the unit circle. So that's this one right here, and that tells me it's 0, negative 1 is the ordered pair that I'm interested in. So 0, negative 1 is my ordered pair. And so now I'm ready to find my 6 trig functions. So I'm trying to get the sine of 3 pi over 2. That's just the y coordinate, so that's negative 1. The cosine of 3 pi over 2 is going to be the x coordinate, so that's 0. The tangent of 3 pi over 2 is going to be the y over the x, so that's going to be a negative 1 over 0, but I'm not allowed to divide by 0, so that means this is going to be undefined. All right, what about reciprocals? So the reciprocal for sine is cosecant, so the cosecant of 3 pi over 2 is going to be 1 over the y, so it's 1 over negative 1, which is still equal to negative 1. And the secant of 3 pi over 2 is equal to 1 over the x, so that's 1 over 0, and that is also undefined. So the tangent and the secant are both undefined, and we've got one more to find, and that is the cotangent of 3 pi over 2 is equal to the x over the y, so that gives me 0 over negative 1, which is just 0. All right, so that can help you with this homework. Hopefully that'll help you get started. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.